Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a nice weekend, everyone, and God bless you. Let's get into the news. And it looks like there's more fallout coming from the Martha's Vineyard migrant drop now that they've all show their true selves of being the racist they're not as welcoming as they claim to be. And they ship people all back off into buses, because we got to get them off our rich island, because we don't want to deal with them unless they are doing yard work and doing maintenance work around the place or watching our kids or even cooking behind the scenes. We don't care. We don't want them in our streets or taking them out. So I guess the portation in that sense is okay for the white liberals. However, the border towns and states that are being inundated with migrants that are coming into the country unfeathered, that's okay by the Biden regime. They are continuing to utilize them by taking them and dropping them off in states across the country, especially in red states, where they're hoping that they will gain a foothold and will continue to vote for Democrat policy. That's what they're all including. This all end by closing the border by all means, right? This all ends when we start actually deporting and using the laws that are already on books and enforcing those. That all ends when we start doing that, but Democrats want to continue to play politics with it. So when the Republicans finally push back and fight back, they don't like it. And they didn't like Ron DeSantis busing a bunch of illegals up to March or Vineyard to disturb their mimosa time up there. They didn't like that whatsoever. They absolutely lost it. They lost it all over social media, and the media did, basically calling DeSantis Hitler. I guess he is new Hitler's since they. Well, now. Yeah, he's Hitler. And so is Trump, anybody's Republicans Hitler. Right. And so they are now calling for Donald Trump, for him to Ron DeSantis to be arrested. That's right. The attorney, not the Attorney General, Department of Agriculture here in the state of Florida, Nikki Fried, she's the head of it. She called the White House and begged them to have DOJ arrest Ron DeSantis, along with the governor from California and other Democrats, and of course, the media. Everybody wants now him to be arrested because he kidnapped a bunch of migrants. No, that's not how it went down. So let's take a look at this unhinged rant by Nikki Fried, the Department of Agriculture here in the state of Florida, and she probably wasn't into about her 4th or 5th box of wine when she was probably writing this over on Twitter. But let's go and take a look at this meltdown that she was having. It was just another day for Nikki Fried. She wrote, "Just got a phone with the White House. I'm asking that the Justice Department to investigate Ron DeSantis for political human trafficking. It also appears Ronnie illegally used taxpayer money to fund this vile stun. I don't care how long it takes. We need to hold him accountable for this. Yet Nikki, you need to sit down." Nikki wasn't even popular enough to win the Democratic nomination in the state of Florida run for governor against DeSantis. I doubt that anybody in the Justice Department, maybe they are. They're going to attempt to arrest Ron DeSantis. Next, they're going to attempt to raid the governor's mansion. That would love to see this take place. By the way, I would love to see the Justice Department bring their goons down here into Florida and to the governor's mansion and try to raid it without having some type of resistance that will be met at the front gate of the governor's mansion. These people are so desperate to get rid of their political opponents, they have no problem. Now they're openly calling for the regime's police to go and take care of their political opponents. That's what they're currently engaged in. They're wide open and talking about this. And they love to call the Republicans fascists and everything like that. But we truly see who the real people are, who want to utilize police to ensure that they can take care of their political opponents. And that's what we see are happening right now. With people like Nikki Fried, the Democrat Party immediate, they have no problem calling for the rest of their political opponents. We are at this point now. And now we will see how this goes. But it was very effective. It was so effective. I'm not a big supporter of sending more illegals inward, but they're here already and the governors only have so much leeway be able to send them back across the country. Right. I believe they have the power to do that. But they did. I'm sure Ron would love to do that. This is sending a message because the media was so hyper-focused on 5050 illegals and Miss Martha's Vineyard. That media coverage was wall to wall. However, we have an open border that's been open. We have over 2 million. That's flooded across since Biden took the helm in Pennsylvania Avenue. 2 million, and they continue to call that secure border. But it was a crisis with only dealing 50, where these border towns in Texas, Arizona, and other places are dealing with 1,000s every single day. Anyway, Ron sent 50 more. And next news. We were talking about the absolute meltdown that's going on among leftist liberals after a couple of back-to-back wins right for the Trump team. And as I'm sure many of you know, U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon ruled in favor of the Trump team's request to have a special master appointed to review the documents that were seized from Mar-a-Lago by the FBI. And then the cherry on the top in all of this is that same judge ordered to stay on the FBI investigation of Trump. So Trump got back-to-back wins, and the DOJ walked away humiliated was their third loss in a row beginning, with their failed attempt at trying to hide the affidavit from public viewing. So it was a huge embarrassment and the libs of social media had an absolute meltdown, a Democrat strategist by the name of Adam Park-Mancow. He actually tweeted out, "Anyone think it's problematic that the presiding judge overseeing the Trump Mar-a-Lago case was appointed by Trump and is a member of the Federalist Society, and Rob Reiner, you know, Mr. Meathead himself demonstrated his penchant for borderline illiteracy by tweeting out with DeSantis unlawfully sending immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, and Trump's judge allowing a special master to view stolen classified documents. We're getting a taste of what autocracy is like. If we don't hold on to Congress, we'll get a lot more than a taste vote." It's like he's trying to make a modern art form out of non sequiturs. It's stunning, and the ultra-leftist Trump derangement-infected lunatic Lawrence O'Donnell tweeted out the most Trumpian thing ever said by a Trump judge in the special master order issued tonight, or as the special master. Now, what Annas and I were talking about is we need to understand this in a larger context here, that accounts for this hysterical hyperbole, this bizarre leftist temper tantrum surrounding this judge and her rulings. All of this vitriolic frothing drivel is just part of the very concerning development within the Democratic Party at the behest of its leadership, along with the clapping seals in the legacy media. And that development is what's known in academic circles as weaponized legalism. Okay, kangaroo courts, for example, like we've seen with the J6 Community Committee, would be a species of this larger phenomenon of weaponized legalism. And the key to understanding this weaponization is that the verdict is predetermined. And what we have to get, especially in a lot of these asinine tweets, is that this goes way beyond the whole notion of being considered guilty until proven innocent. And that's because this weaponization involves the unconditional notion that there is no possibility of being proven innocent. An essential part of the effectiveness of the weaponization of the law is to remove all hope that you would ever come out of this intact. So that I think, is what we're seeing here. And the sad part of it all is that it's all happening with the compliance of Mitch McConnell and Mittens Romney and the Rhino Republican senatorial establishment. We have all kinds of Republican activists getting raided every single day by the FBI, Michael Sandel being one of the latest. And McConnell could care less. In fact, he wants the MAGA movement to disappear. Because he's a very bitter old man. He'd rather be the leader of a permanent minority party than seeing that party rise to the majority with him being shut out, which he eventually will be with the unstoppable rise of the MAGA movement. But this weaponized legalism, I think, is so key to make sense of all of this. Here. You've got these leftist trolls, badgering the stellar Judge Eileen Cannon, for rendering a perfectly reasonable judgment. There's nothing even remotely unprecedented in appointing a special master, especially when it comes to classified material. There are scores of special masters with appropriate security clearance for that. There's nothing unprecedented in stopping an investigation. 2. The extent that such an investigation involves documents that have yet to be reviewed by a special master. There's ample precedent for all of this. There's nothing that can even be remotely faulted procedurally, administratively about this decision. But you'll notice that these rabid left-boids ever so conveniently turn a blind eye to the lesser magistrate who signed the warrant that enabled the FBI to engage in an absolutely and totally unprecedented act, the raiding of a former president's home. There's no historical precedent for such outside of banana republics. But of course, within the banana republic context of weaponized legalism, where the law is being used to punish your political enemies and intimidate everyone else. What this lesser magistrate did was perfected. The more unprecedented the better, you intimidate more people that way. Moreover, you'll notice that meathead Rob Reiner, for example, Lawrence O'Donnell, whether they didn't give a flip over the fact that this lesser magistrate was demonstrably a rabid anti-Trumper. He's an Obama donor. And to make it even worse, he actually represented employees of the convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. You see, That's all fine and dandy for these Democrats again, because the goal in all of this is not about applying the rule of law in a fair and impartial manner. The goal in all of this is to punish Trump and his allies. The law is there to punish precisely because Trump is guilty of offending liberals. That's why he and his allies have to be punished. The good news is it's not going to work. Noam Chomsky recently said that the most dangerous thing about China is not its military or its economy. It's the fact that China can't be intimidated. That's exactly what we're seeing. With Trump and Bannon and Rendell, and everyone else involved in this massive mega army that's rising up all over the nation. We refuse to be intimidated. And as dangerous as weaponized legalism may be, those who cannot be intimidated are the most dangerous of all. Alright, thanks for being here, folks. Please receive a big hug from all of us. Let me know down below